This conference will now be recorded.
The Board of Trustees work session meeting February 3rd, 2022, called to order at 6:06. Hopefully everyone has their agendas online. So to start with, we have the update on code enforcement policy. So just a couple of notes to follow up on from our last discussion about this. One concern was regarding the insurance policy. And after discussion with the insurance agent and Tina looking into what some of the other villages seem to be doing, we are currently with the $10 million umbrella policy at a level that the insurance company uses for other villages. So from that standpoint, that's where they're at. If we wanted to add more, it is, I think a significant increase on what we are. The $10 million policy is what we're rated at right now. And then we also just received today some draft policies. So I will share those to the board, and it's my hope that the board will go through the policy as carefully as possible, making sure that we understand every aspect of what's put down so that we're ready to make a decision. Joe Prokop will also be looking at the policy to establish, where it works, if there's any problems with it from a legal perspective, and then we will reconvene, hopefully with edits and all the work that goes into that for our next meeting. And if anyone has any comments.
So once we review the policy, if we approve the policy or agree, what's the next step then?
We would have to vote and approve the policy.
And then it takes effect, so we can so it can be done as quickly as next month?
I think we would have to agree on, depending on what we all say about it.
Sure.
I think if it was as is and everyone agreed to it, it's possible we would vote on it.
Okay. So that's the only thing that's stopping us from is right now just the policy part, because we're all comfortable with our insurance perspective and our limits and all of that, right? So it's just a matter of agreeing on policy.
Yeah, I think for me, I want to make sure we're doing what's best for the village. And, I just encourage everyone to look at the policy and look at some of the terms that are involved in it. And I want to make sure from a legal standpoint that what this policy allows code enforcement to do is within their legal purview. So I want to make sure we're doing the right thing. It's not something I feel comfortable rushing into by any means. So I want to see it, and then in the end we'll vote on it, and that will determine what happens.
Okay, sounds good.
Dee, did you have anything on playground equipment?
Okay, so I had a company in Medford that had some commercial equipment, or at least I thought it was going to be commercial that would be at a cheaper rate. But really, when I got into it, it was more like residential backyard equipment.
Okay.
So in order for us to go to the commercial grade that the insurance company wants, we're looking at maybe only being able to do one park because it's so expensive. It's like, between $15,000 and $20,000 per piece of equipment that's commercial compared to $4,500 when it's just like a residential piece. So I don't know what you want to do. Do you want me to keep going and figure out exact costs at commercially, or do you want both? I could do both, residential and commercial.
My thought is that we price out the commercial and then focus on California as the park that gets the commercial grade. I think it's just the best bet. I'm reluctant to go with a non-commercial piece, not just from an insurance standpoint, but I look at what these commercial grade parks look like whether it's down in Port Jeff Village or at the schools. I think that if we're gonna do it, we should do it the right way so that it lasts.
Yep. But you know, like Port Jeff Village's playground was $1 million. We don't have $1 million. So,
I'm not saying anything $1 million playground, but if you're saying 15 to 20K, maybe we just do, if we can get that one park redone for, let's say, somewhere in the range of $20,000, I think that would be great.
okay. Well, there's other companies. That was just a company in Medford, but there's also a company I know in Hauppauge. So let me get a list of pieces that I think maybe that could work, and then I could send it out to everybody to look at and at least get some prices.
Right. Would this be something that maybe we start to think about actually bidding out? I mean,
No, I mean, the companies do come and install it. It's just a matter of us getting rid of what's there.
right. Okay. So I guess we can look into it. I think, I feel like that 20,000 marker is probably a reasonable spot.
Yeah.
For what we can spend. It's coming out of the ARPA money. So that's that funding that we currently are sitting on. So I think that would be a fair place to take it from, and that'd be a good start.
Okay, great.
Is that 90 some odd thousand?
So we have two payments of
47.
$46,000 or $47,000. One already in our accounts and one coming again in, I guess, June or July or something. That's when it's year to year.
We haven't spent any of that money yet?
No.
And do we have a certain amount of time to use it? Is it use it or lose it, or we have it in this?
We have it. It's just a matter of accounting for it. So, but the accounting for it is pretty light. They've really opened up the ways it can be spent as time has gone on. So you have years to utilize it and cancel it.
The money for the retention pond too, right? The presentation that Rich did, is it all the same? Are we looking at that for that still, or have we?
Well, we're looking to do the cheapest version of the retention.
Clean it out.
To clean it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, that money could come from there as well. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Do we have numbers on that yet or not yet?
we haven't even bid it out. I was thinking of potentially talking to La Rosa and seeing what they would do to clean it out.
That's a good idea.
You know, but beyond that, I don't think that's going to be a cost prohibitive
Right.
action. All right, Dee, that's cool. So we'll look for that information. That'll be great.
Yep.
The blizzard of January 28, 29. Besides a couple of hiccups, a plow truck off the road, and just a couple of clarifications on what needs to be plowed in certain spots. The blizzard ended roughly around 4 p.m. Saturday. The roads in the village were passable by 7:30. I drove them, and by 10 a.m. Sunday morning, we had blacktop in most of the village, and we were really in good shape. So the phone, we had one call on the call forwarded line, and that was Bayberry, and we took care of that right away. And that was really it. I don't know if anyone else had any comments to add to that.
I'll say, kudos to them. They were awesome. This is the second storm now where they delivered, and to be honest, not only met my expectations, but exceeded. Again, seeing blacktop, a couple hours after the storm ends with almost 20 inches of snow is incredible. So very happy with them.
Yeah, it was good. Luckily, I was able to get out and see what happened, and then I looked to Shore Road as I was driving.
Oh my gosh, Shore Road was still.
And it looked like a ski resort.
Yeah, it was still a ski resort on Sunday night.
Yeah, so.
And many villages, as of Monday, were not even plowed once. So we were in really, really good shape.
They did a good job.
I talked to the UPS guy, the FedEx guy. They said our village, bar none, is so much better than the surrounding areas.
So I just wanted to give everyone an update on that. Local law amending section 123-16H of the Poquat Village Code. That's simply an editing issue in there relating to the village name not being correct in the code that we just have to update. So that's, I just wanted to make sure I understood what's up.
What's the village name?
Greenport.
Okay. Oh, well.
So we'll update that, and that'll be something we have to just go through the works on. I guess I don't know if Joe sent me the update on the wireless 5G in the village, so I guess I don't have that yet.
And he
So,
said he would probably like hop on, I think at 6:30.
so maybe he can talk to us about that, but he hasn't
Report.
sent us any copies, so I have nothing to say about that. I have seen them around. I don't know if you've noticed them in places, but they have them in Syosset, and they are like an extent. They go off the top of the pole. It's like a tiny piece with a big brown cylinder going up from it. It's like an extension of the pole.
How's it look?
How big?
They're probably the same diameter as a pole, and they extend. Looks like 2 feet higher. So.
But we don't even know how many they think that they'd have to place or where. We don't have any of that information yet.
Nothing. This is,
Okay,
they haven't approached the village. This is just something we're trying to be ahead of them on. So
Got it.
when they do approach, we can have some ground to stand on. Even though this 5G placement is a federal law.
right.
So we're going to try
And
Have
tell them,
something to
how
say
about
about
this pole instead of that pole?
and maybe,
All
but
right,
the reality is it's a federal law.
got
And
it.
so there's not a lot of, we're going to try. I guess that's the extent of it. Update on Dyer's Court. So we've been back and forth about this. We are waiting on the work estimate, and we are waiting on just confirmation from the resident where the drain will be placed. And then we hope to
Is it going
get
on their
it,
property?
it
Yeah.
will be,
Yeah, okay.
and
Is
we
it
hope,
going on the property where they're the
No.
different
No,
property?
different property.
Okay.
so that's why that's the resident we're waiting on. It could be all clear yet. I haven't gotten the update yet, but it's once we get the bid and we know the numbers, I'll submit that out to you all and we'll decide. I think we can probably approve it at the March meeting, approve the work. Because I don't think that the person who's doing it will be able to schedule it between now and March. So this will be work that probably won't be done until March anyway.
I mean, the last couple of ones, they waited till they
They wait till the
so
spring.
They waited till the spring on the
Yeah.
other ones too.
Yeah.
Even though they
So-
were like emergencies, they couldn't
Right.
get to it
Yeah.
faster because of the weather.
And I think just scheduling in general.
Right,
So-
okay.
So that's where we're at with that.
Where will the funds come from for this project?
So the hope is for us to get these from FEMA, from tropical storm, from the tropical
Ida.
storm that we had, from Tropical Ida. That was when it was overwhelmed. And we're hoping to get that, but if that is not, if that's not where the funding comes from, then it'll come out of our budget, either partially from the money that we, the ARPA money, or we'll fund it and then we'll get reimbursed through, I guess, CHIPS or some form of that. To some degree, none of it's, even the FEMA money is only a 75% of cost. We do front some of it. So that's the assessment there.
Thanks.
So Joe's not on yet?
No.
Okay. So at this point, I guess,
We can play Jenga.
we can
Set that aside
we can
or?
set that aside for now and we'll move to, I don't know if anybody is, but we can move to the business meeting. So I'll adjourn the board meeting, the working session at 6:21. A motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Bless you.
The board blessed you, Rich. That's how loud you sneeze.
You don't need to think that's.
No, that's not what I
The board has not heard you sneeze and said, "God bless you."
All right, so I will call the Board of Trustees meeting for February 3rd, 2022 to order at 6:23. Everyone will stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States, okay, to the republic, which stands one nation, under God.
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So the big announcement is that Village Hall will be closed for President's Week.
All week?
For the whole week. The clerk and deputy clerk will be away. So what's going to have to happen is, Tina, I'll need you to just check the mail.
Yep.
And
I was thinking that the voicemail can be, the voicemail goes to an email, so I can, call Constructure
or-
and just have the voicemail. If, when they leave a message, it goes directly to your
Email.
mailbox.
Yeah.
And then like you just field the urgent ones,
Yeah.
and the rest, you can just forward to
Well,
me.
we're gonna be, it's
Are
gonna
you
be
going to-
closed President's Day anyway, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it
So
was
it's just,
Yes, that Monday
it's
will
really
be
just
closed.
Tuesday,
we don't have
Wednesday,
to, we don't have to
Thursday.
keep track of it
Yeah.
that one day, right?
Right.
It's just Tuesday,
Okay,
Wednesday.
because
Is that
I'm not
okay?
gonna be here that day, but I'll be here the rest of the week, so that's not a problem.
Okay.
And then just,
And then
as we get closer to that, just, Joe will need to just have your cell phone or whatever, in
Yeah.
case you need for some emergency.
Okay,
I'm here too, so.
all right, we're all here.
so we'll work then.
We'll have a pizza party.
There you go.
All right.
So that's the big announcement. Let's see, public safety report.
You want me to read it or?
Yeah, I guess if you go ahead and read it.
So December 16th, 2021 to February 3rd, 2022, 98 calls received for service, assistance or information. Incident reports documented 23, parking violations 10, courtesy house checks 4, and special event parking requests 3. And I don't know if I should go through this whole thing.
No, I don't think so. I think
Okay.
that's the cover sheet. Let's see. Hey, Ron, you got that treasurer's report?
Yes. Before I get into it, I haven't heard, I checked with Natalie today. I don't know, I presume we have not gotten any bills for the most recent snow work.
No,
And we
Not
have
yet.
not gotten anything from the town of Brookhaven yet for
No.
for any of the sand and salt.
no.
No.
That
Okay.
usually comes at the end of the season in one invoice, I think.
Okay, so anyway, I would like to have had that, but we don't. The fact is that, things are going along more or less as they have been, with the same items as being pluses and similar items being negatives. The mortgage tax income was unexpectedly very, very high so far. I certainly didn't expect that people would be doing all this refinancing, but whatever they're doing, it's great. Public safety wages are as they have been for a few years anyway, below budget. And then we spent our money on the streets maintenance supplies. It's all about the same as what we've been doing. Snow plowing so far in January was only 8,600 thereabouts, not including sand and salt. So at the end, the bottom line, we've got a nice substantial surplus over budget so far that keeps hanging at over 100,000 over. Now 50,000 of that is the vehicle bond, and another 47, 48 is the ARPA funding. but we are at 142 better than budget. So we're well over, and you know, even if we get clobbered with snow, which doesn't look like, looking out the next couple of weeks isn't going to happen. You know, I continue to be optimistic about this year's operations.
That's great, Ron. I just wanted to give you an update. We were just told earlier in the meeting that the vehicle is closer. It's closer. It's going to be delivered maybe by the end of this month or the very beginning of March. So we'll be able to take that 50 off the books for that at that moment.
Okay, great. The only thing that happens at the same time as that is putting the old vehicle up for sale, which
Right.
is a,
Right.
so I don't know, you know, what we anticipate for that, and certainly it's going to be some aggravation, but we were anticipating we were going to have, you know, we've already got the funds. The expenditure is pretty much built in, so unless something has happened to the price, which I presume was locked in.
That's
Okay.
on the new vehicle. Yeah, that should be locked in. Yeah.
No, I don't know. It should be, but I can't say for sure. You never know.
Hello.
Anyway, that's my report anyway.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Ron.
Ron.
We just read through what Cindy had. I don't know if you had.
Yeah, I didn't read that page.
Okay,
I don't know if Frank wants you to go through that too.
yeah, he wanted me to read.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
okay.
So just going back to the public safety report, if you want to just read that section off.
Incident reports, we had 140, plus 9 from 020, plus 57 from 19. Parking meetings, we had 107, it's plus 09, it's plus 9 for 20, plus 59 from 19. Parking tickets, 44, minus 45 from 20. 15. Now, appearance tickets, 9. We had 9 written, and last year we did 5, and in 19 we did 8.
Oh, this is like
This
a,
is 2020.
so this is like you're comparing
Right.
years.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
21 to 2019.
Okay.
got it, okay.
Okay. What was that? Event parking requests, 136. In 2020 was 75, and 2019 was 16.
We had 136 requests in a month for special
No,
parking?
No, for the end of the year.
Yeah.
20
Oh, for the whole
Yeah, end of
year?
the year.
Oh, okay.
You're right. Sorry. Pet and animal violations, we had 5. 2020 we had 4, and 2019 none available. Courtesy house checks, 23 this year, 5 for 2020, and 5 for 2019. Stormwater violations, 4 for this year, 1 for 2020, and there's an equal sign on 2019. I don't know if that means. Building, zoning, fire inspections, 10. Last year not available, and 2020 not available, and 2019 not available. Stop work orders issued, 2. 2020 is an equal sign, and 2019 is +1. Quality of life complaints is 10. It's +5. In 2020 it's +5, and in 2019 it was +1. If you read the last page, then
So this was the first page for me. I read that.
the 98 calls.
Yeah.
A lot of
That's
calls.
okay.
That is a lot of things.
It's been busy.
45 days, that's 2 calls a day. Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. So I didn't, Jacqueline, I didn't know if you wanted to say anything about the court report or just,
So I got in touch with Leslie and she said legally,
No,
that she
that's
has
okay.
until the 10th to get that done. So she's gonna send it to me next week. I asked her to give me some dates in February because now I have to do the audit for July through the end of December. So it's just easier. The last time I didn't meet with her and it's really hard to kind of reconcile and go back and forth. So we both agreed easier just to meet and I'll get in touch with Frank, which is a 5-minute meeting just to make sure all the numbers are consecutive and I know what I'm dealing with. So she said she'll send it next week. I'll email it out like I did the December report.
Great. All right, we're ready for public comments. So let's just get you unmuted.
I see you. John has anything?
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, hold on. I guess, John, did you have any comments?
No.
Oh, okay.
Andy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm like, John, do you catch?
All right, let me figure this out. That's right.
And those online, if you have comments, just remember to state your name and your address.
Okay, all right, Steve?
Yes, thanks so much. This is the first time I used this app, so hopefully I'm coming in okay.
Yep.
So Steve Weisbart, Forest Court. Obviously, the comment was about what has been shared through the village on the website about the uptick, I guess, in the violence, not the violence, but in the criminal activity that we've seen over the past few weeks. So just a comment, sort of a question as to whether or not anything we could do as a village to help prevent this from happening again, and also the potential from any worse type of criminal activity. So that was a comment / question. I don't know if there's an opportunity for discussion in these types of forums.
We have been discussing it. I know that we actually spoke, Steve, and the board is actively working to mitigate the issues. Right now, the best advice we continue to have is to lock your vehicles and keep your security lights on. But in the interim, along with that, we have increased night patrols of code enforcement, and I have been in quite a bit of contact with the Suffolk County Police Department regarding these issues. So we are continuing to do the best we can to address the issue. And that's where the village is at about that.
It seems like whoever it is has moved on now. I mean, I think once everybody started, seems like, might be a coincidence, but it seems like once everybody started to consistently lock up and light up, Poquat's numbers of incidents went down and Belterre went up, right?
Belterre and Fort Jeff.
Fort Jeff. So, I mean, this might be somebody who just kind of moves around, finds, if the doors are unlocked and it's easy,
Sure.
they're getting in there. If they're not, they haven't, even in Fort Jeff and Belterre, it's the same thing. It's unlocked doors.
Same MO.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems it has affected, several villages. Seems like it's affected several villages, and I think it just to go, into the meeting, and the reason I wanted to attend this meeting is just to, sort of say to ourselves, is this an unwelcomed opportunity to really think about, are we doing everything that we could do as a village, to maximize security? And I'm not suggesting that the following interventions, should be adapted, but maybe something that can be considered or discussed, is, for example, I know, the leadership of the village is investing in new playground equipment. Should there be security cameras in those areas? I know it's been mentioned anecdotally, amongst, friends and people I work with in the neighborhood here. I know gating off the village isn't a possibility, but perhaps, do we consider as a village security cameras, at the entry and exit points? When we drive into the village, I know we see signs that say it's security patrolled, but unfortunately at nighttime, there is no lights to show anyone coming into the village that we have, such a great patrol system. So I just wanted to throw those ideas out there and also thank the village for everything they've done on this issue so far.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Steve.
I think security, I mean, if I could say something about that. I think that the security cameras, while it's a great idea, they require continuous monitoring. And I mean, from what Suffolk County has said, they have to actually catch this person in the act. So if we put security cameras, let's say at the entry points, and there's somebody walking into the village, where there's nothing, I think the security, I mean, I don't know what the village can do. I mean, Dave, you can talk to this. As far as, security coming in, it might be more of an intimidation to see security cameras, but the 24/7 surveillance and then relaying that back to Suffolk County, I think that it would prove to be complicated. I think individual residents with security cameras is a better option for the
Because
village.
it's more direct contact, like calling the police to advise them. I mean, by the time it gets back over there.
Right, it's just not. So Steve, I think it's a great idea. I just don't know the practicality of it with coordinating. You'd have to see somebody in the act in order to take action. And just seeing somebody walking in, I mean, it could be a deterrent just to see a camera, but the practicality of having a camera being surveilled 24/7 or throughout the night, that's staffing that we don't have really. And I don't know that we'd catch anything at the entrances of the villages. I don't know how anybody else feels about it.
I agree, it'd probably be more of a deterrent than anything. It's
Right.
actually-
Yeah, I would suggest more of a deterrence. I think it would be impossible, for anyone to, continuously monitor the village. And what would they even be monitoring? Who's walking on the street? And there's no, it seems to be no crime against that. But just, in the event that these things happen, again in the future, would there be any benefit in terms of finding out, who's doing any of this, illegal sort of activity or any future illegal acts? Maybe that would be helpful, not only to catch them, but also, as was mentioned, to deter whoever would be doing such things.
Well, so I will definitely discuss this with our code enforcement chief and see what his feelings are regarding security cameras. And we'll continue doing our patrols as best as we can. Hopefully, keep the village as safe as possible.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say thanks again. These were all just ideas that I wanted to throw out there, since I know quite a few number of people in the village were affected by it. And again, just throwing ideas out there for discussion and consideration. And thanks again for letting me make some comments.
You bet, Steve. Thank you very much.
There's no other public
No other comments.
residents.
All right, this will close.
Oh, and then, I'm sorry, goes on.
Oh, good. So let's, hey, Joe, we wanted to circle back to you and see if you had any, back in the work session, we had open items for village attorney. So Joe, if you could just update us on the latest in the village, that'd be great.
Okay, well, we, over the, in December and January, the Richardson matter was resolved with a stipulation of settlement. Have you gone through that yet?
We have not.
Okay, so the Richardson matter was, Supreme Court matter was resolved with a stipulation of settlement that was entered by the Villages Council and also counsel for Richardson. And this is Richardson on Walnut Street, or Walnut Avenue. And it ended, the matter was resolved with two things happening. The first is that there's a payment of to be made to the village of $10,000. And that's being paid by a down payment of $2,500, which we already have, has already been deposited, $2,500. A second payment of $3,750, which is now due in June. And a third payment in the amount of $3,750, which is due in December, totaling $10,000. There were two building permits that were at issue. One was the original building permit, that was never properly completed, which is building permit 1003. And that under that building permit, the work will be completed and
if it's completed satisfactorily, the building permit will be closed out. That is, and then when that occurs, when that building permit is finally closed out, and that's a building permit now that's been open for many years and was one of the main issues in the case. When that building permit is finally properly closed out, the second building permit, which is open for other work, there's a renewal fee that's due on that permit, which is the council agreed would be the regular renewal fee or one renewal fee. That building permit will be renewed and then also completed and closed out. So those are the things that are happening under that settlement. As you recall, there was a matter in our village court that we resolved earlier in I believe it was 2021, earlier in 2021, where there was a guilty plea to a ticket that had been outstanding for a while and a fine paid on that ticket. I believe the ticket was for no certificate of occupancy. So that was also resolved. Are there any questions regarding that? And then, I should mention, as security for the payment of the three payments, the village also got what's called a confession of judgment, which means that if there's any kind of an issue with the two future payments that need to be made, the confession of judgment will be filed. That's in the amount of $10,000, and then there'll be a judgment on record in the amount of $10,000.
That's regardless, that's at any point, if the next two payments don't get made, at any point, it becomes a total of 10,000, or is it 10,000 minus what's paid?
It'll be of record for $10,000. The collectible amount will be $10,000 less the amount paid.
Got it. And that's like a judgment against what, the property?
Yeah, property and any assets, yes.
Okay.
Bank accounts, things like that.
And the two building permits, was the settlement, was there a timeline given to those two building permits being completed? But as you know, I know one of them went back to like quite a ways back. So was there a timeline given for that work to get completed and the inspections to get done?
So it doesn't look like there's it looks like, it does not look like council put a deadline in it, but I believe that there's a time period, but not a maximum time period. We've already had I'm working with the village office on this, and I'll be working with the building inspector. But there has been discussion already with Mr. Richardson. He has approached us about this, but
Okay,
it doesn't look like there's a deadline in the agreement.
Okay, cool, thanks.
But we are working on it.
Good, cool.
Is that it, Joe?
Oh, that's it for that. I have a couple other things to talk about whenever you want. Okay, so the village asked me to look into 5G legislation, and
Yes.
what I did was I surveyed a number of villages, actually villages throughout the state, and I pulled out two of the codes code sections that I thought were most applicable to POQUAD and would be the best for us to have. So I'm merging those together with some ideas that I have to help us, and I'll have a completed local law ready for you to have a public hearing on, probably I would say by the end of next week, if not sooner. And so then it would be my recommendation, if you want to set a public hearing on legislation for 5G regulation.
So Joe, this is John. So help me understand, what's the point of going through this? Isn't it futile if it's a federal mandate? Our village laws really don't have any bearing, right?
So it's a federal mandate that you can't prohibit it. We cannot prohibit 5G coming into the village, but we can regulate it in order to take into consider aesthetic impacts, environmental and aesthetic impacts. So the laws that I'm working with have some regulations that I think would be upheld. But you're right. Under the FCC regulations, you cannot completely prohibit 5G.
So our hope is that we can say we don't want it on this telephone pole because it's whatever the reason, too close to someone's house, blocking a view of the water or whatnot. And you would hope that the FCC would say, okay, we agree with your local law, we'll just try something else.
I'm hoping that like it would be something like every four polls rather than every poll. And maybe there's a couple polls that we think are aesthetically valuable that we don't want it on. Maybe a couple of the polls down by the harbor and things like that.
I guess
And then help
the
the best.
do this. But the reality is, if the FCC says pound salt, we have no say, right?
Well, hopefully it wouldn't get to the FCC. That would be, it would be a mistake if we had to go to the FCC to fight on something like this. Hopefully it's something that we could work out with the carrier.
Okay, thank you.
But I recommend that you at least look at that. Those are good points that you mentioned, and definitely I agree with you. But I think at least you should consider legislation and see what you think about it.
Definitely. Sounds like a good plan.
I hate to interrupt in something like this, but is there only one carrier that's going to be in the village, or could there be multiple carriers?
There could be multiple carriers.
And would they each have to have their own equipment on different poles or the same pole?
I think they share poles. Well, that's one of the things which we'll have to try to work out.
Thank you.
Is there any opportunity for any revenue generation from this?
We're going to try for that. I believe some villages have been able to get revenue. We'll try for that. Yes. It depends on how the statute is worded, but I will try to get revenue.
For the record, I don't want it on the pole next to my new deck.
I think they identified that as one of the critical poles.
Yeah, they did. You're done.
Anything else, Joe?
Yes, so I have, there's another local law that we need to have a hearing on at the next meeting. It's just to take care of a cleanup and one of the local laws that we adopted. We just need to change some of the language. We had court again last week on the 26th, and there's still, thankfully, there's still, everybody's pretty much is showing up still. As far as the defendants, which is, it's been pretty steady, even with COVID, and the public safety officer that's on for the court nights has really been helping out a lot under Frank's direction, and everything's kept very orderly. It's sort of like almost drive-through court, because people come in and they drive up and they identify themselves, and then they wait. And then we call them, and then they drive back up and get out of their car and come in, individually, one at a time, and take care of their matter. The calendar now has been, there's probably about 7 or 8 village code matters on, and then interspersed among them is a handful of parking tickets. But we do have a number of code matters now that code investigated and gave to the court for enforcement. And I gave a marked up calendar to the village. I didn't send it to all the trustees. If you want me to do that, I'll do that. Or you want to do it, it's whatever you'd like to do. But I sent it to Jackie and the mayor this afternoon.
Yep, we have it.
I just want to bring to your attention, I don't know where this is going. I don't know if you're aware of this, if you've seen emails on it, but the governor, in 2021, there was a law proposed in, I think by several New York State legislators in Queens, if I'm not mistaken, that what they were trying to do was to force all the municipalities in New York State to allow what they're calling accessory dwelling units. So their idea of the law would be to require all municipalities that do zoning, so villages, towns, and cities, to have a new section in their code that would allow accessory dwelling units in their municipality. And it could be a separate structure, or it could be part of the existing structure. So, and it would allow people to use accessory structures as their accessory dwelling units. So what that means is basically, if you have a garage or if you have a shed that was a minimum size, you would be able to turn it into a dwelling unit. So this was proposed last year and it sort of stuck around. It didn't officially die, but it's in committee. And then in both the Assembly and the Senate. This year, as I understand it, I didn't listen to the governor's State of the State address on January 5th, but as I understand it, on January 5th, the governor identified this law as one of her primary objectives for 2022, and that it would be attached to her budget. So, excuse me, this is what they did with COVID last year, where Governor Cuomo was able to get cannabis, I apologize. Governor Cuomo was able to get cannabis legislation approved along with his budget. That's what happened last year. So the governor threatened to do that this year, the new governor, with regard to these accessory dwelling units. And so there was a lot of commotion upstate. There was the Suffolk County Village Officials Association Board of Directors had a couple of emergency meetings, and they reached out to several political people or government officials. And it's my understanding now that it's been separated from the budget, but that the governor still intends to try to move it forward. There was a meeting this morning in the town of Brookhaven of the town supervisor, all of the council people, and also the representatives of some of the villages. The mayor of Patchogue was there, and also the mayor of Lake Grove. I actually appeared on behalf of the village of Poquat. I did not state an opinion on the law because I had discussed it with the board, but I wanted to know. I wanted the town of Brookhaven to know that at least we had an interest in what was happening with this. So I did appear and mention that that I was there on behalf of the village of Poquat. So does anybody have? I think that the governor has enough political allies across the state that she will probably try to get this through. And the specter of this is, basically your neighbors could turn their garage into a second home, or they could build a second home in their backyard, or you could do that. So there's a lot of opposition to it, but we're not, it still could go through. Does anybody have any questions about what I just talked about?
Well, if, let's say they want to build it still would have to follow zoning and footprints and everything else. So realistically, that's not very likely, is it?
No, the state would basically be taking over the zoning. You couldn't zone out one of these things. And they actually, in the law, I'll circulate the most, it's changing all the time, but I will circulate the most recent version of this to the village tomorrow.
I could read, I have it in front of me. I could read just this one paragraph if you don't mind. Moreover, while it purportedly allows local governments to reasonably regulate the accessory dwelling units, a local government may not require as a condition of permitting an accessory dwelling unit less than 550, no more than 1,500 square footage for the structure. Local laws cannot establish any other area requirement for such an accessory dwelling that would preclude any such dwelling if it has height of at least 800 square. It is totally wiping out our local law regarding
the whole setbacks and everything else.
just wiping it out.
So I could put 9 she sheds on my.
Not 9. No, you have to have something that's currently there. But if you have something that's there, now you can convert it to an accessory dwelling.
what about our law that states we're not allowed to have what, multiple?
Single family dwelling lot out the window. That's it.
Hmm.
So that's why everyone's upset about it. Well, not everyone, but people are. So there'll be a meeting with the Suffolk County Village Officials Association coming up that I'll be attending. But like Joe said, the governor feels like they can get this through, and we'll have to just see what happens. We just can only voice our displeasure with it.
Yeah, because of population, a lot of the major part of the Assembly and the Senate are from New York City and like Buffalo, places like that. And I understand that there's a lot of support for this in those urban areas. So so as an aside, Connecticut has been struggling with this for a while now. The feeling is of some people in Connecticut that single family zoning is discriminatory, and they've been trying to come up with a way to get rid of single family zoning in that state. Just toss that out. This is sort of the New York approach. One other part of the local law is that what the governor wants to do also is identify this thing called an affordable accessory dwelling unit, which has income limitations, and then I believe there'll be she's directing that there be state funding. So if you're willing to create one of these and put it in your backyard and limit the tenants to affordable, people that meet affordable housing guidelines, you would probably get money from the state for some or most or all of the construction costs. So that's another thing that's on.
Yeah.
Oh,
With all the five.
Well, that's definitely
With all
something
the
to keep,
5G.
definitely something to keep an eye on. Anything else, Joe?
So, quick question. This is Jacqueline. I get the monthly court report, and we had discussed the last time I did the audit, just getting a confirmation from you of the dollar amount that is being recorded as taken in. What's the best way for me to get that from you?
It'll be shown on the calendar. Like if there was any money, I can give you a separate report. I can attach a list.
Okay,
Like I can tell you this month, last week, there was no money taken in.
okay. We
As of-
decided starting in October, so it wasn't for the full year. We had just talked about that in October. If you could just confirm, the dollar amount taken in at each court case that,
Okay,
just the total amount taken in, just as an extra check and balance in the audit that we were doing.
okay.
Thank
And
you.
yes, thank you. Did you want to talk about code enforcement policy with me? Or did I miss that, or do you want to reopen that?
Yeah, I mean, if you had something to add, I just said to the board that we would review that last document. No one has had a chance to look at it yet, so I thought we would all get a chance to look at that and then have you review that policy and then open it up for discussion at March's meeting.
Okay, I reviewed the policies that came in, and also I researched the relevant sections in New York State penal law and also the criminal procedure law. And I definitely have comments that I'd like to make to the board. Probably, it may even, if you want to wait till March, that's fine. Whatever you would like to do. We could also do an interim meeting. I don't know what all of your schedules are. You've just focused on that, or we could wait till March. Whatever you want to do is fine with me. But I'm pretty up to speed on that at this time, and maybe I should talk to Frank a little bit, and then I'll be ready whenever you would like to meet.
Yeah, I know that we're away for a week in February, so I feel like if we just wait till March, it's probably the best go around.
Okay. And the only a couple of the things that I have on my plate. I mean, there's a number of things I'm working on I'm in touch with the village office all the time, and to give support. And there's a little bit of an issue with the Verizon contract. So Verizon pretty much throughout the county now, as I understand, has taken the position that it's not offering renewals on any of its contracts. And what that means is that until the Public Service Commission steps in, the contract self-renews and is just extending. So I'm going to look into our specific contract again and just confirm the dates. If there is an issue, we might recommend something to do. I might make a recommendation to the board at the March meeting. So that's my only comment on that. And then once again, with regard to Optimum, are we still getting bills from Optimum for internet service, or do we get internet service through somebody else?
I have to check on that.
There is an Optimum invoice I thought I saw on the list.
Because
The
we
same
should be getting,
The same as Verizon, right? The
yeah, we
quarterly
should be getting
checks.
Optimum for free. So
No, he's asking, do we pay Optimum for the Village Hall internet?
Oh,
service?
yes. I thought you meant the franchise fees. Yes, we do pay Optimum.
okay, so now that I confirmed that, I'll ask them again. I met with their representatives about something else a few weeks ago, and I told them that we needed to straighten this out, but I would confirm it again. So now that I confirmed it, I'll mention it once again, and maybe we could get that taken care of.
Okay.
But we should get free service from the Village Hall. Should get free service from Optimum.
What?
We should all get
And I don't have anything else unless you have questions for me.
All right, I think we're all set, Joe. Thanks very
This
much.
isn't what my office looks like. I had court tonight that ran over, and I asked the judge if I could use his chambers, and he let me sit in his chambers. So
That's all right.
What does it look like?
this is a judge's decorating.
nothing on the walls.
It's not my decorating job.
All right, so on to resolutions. Just a note, resolution number 7 is going to be omitted, but I have a new resolution number 7 that I'll read in.
Okay.
Okay, that's exciting.
Mm.
Is that like a surprise resolution?
No, it's the one regarding the 5G regulation. Okay, so resolution number 02-2022-1, resolution adopting February 3, 2022 agenda as printed. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 02-2022, resolution accepting the monthly reports from February 3rd, 2022. So moved.
Second. In favor?
Aye.
Resolution 02-2022-3, resolution adopting the minutes from December 16th, 2021 work session of the Board of Trustees. So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Dee, do you want Dee to go, or doesn't matter?
Yeah, I'll go. Resolution 02-2022-4, resolution adopting the minutes from December 16th, 2021 business session of the Board of Trustees. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Resolution 02-2022-5. Resolution to schedule the Village of Oakwood Board of Trustees work session meeting beginning at 6 PM on March 10th, 2022, with the business meeting to follow immediately. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 02-2022-6, resolution to set a public hearing at the next Village Board of Trustees meeting, local law of 2022, amending section 123-16H of the Oakwood Village Code. So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution number 2-2022-7, resolution to set a public hearing for a local law regarding 5G regulations. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And now we got the voucher reports, big batch.
not so bad. We got December and January though, so, okay. 8 unpaid bills, Canon Financial, 129. Paul Edelson for December, 250. Flynn Stenography, 408.45. Murphy Marine, removal of the docks, 1,000. Staples, 293.23. Suffolk County Water, $1,808.25. Verizon Wireless, $60.24 for a total of $3,149.17.
What's Suffolk County Water so high? That's for here?
Quarterly bill.
But that's for the village, isn't it?
It's from September through December.
All the water for
For everyone.
landscaping.
Oh, yeah, it still has that in there. Yep, yeah. 5 unpaid bills, Trofa Landscaping for California Park, 440. Small Business Management, 545.49. Suffolk County Water, $470.56. Suffolk County Water, $70.42. Sweezy Fuel, $525.20 for a total of $2,051.67. 9 unpaid bills, Canon Financial, 129. Paul Edelson for January, 250. Flynn Stenography for zoning meeting, 455.25. Landscaping by guests, the snow plowing, 1,080. PSE&G, $42.35. Small Business Management, January and end of year forms and supplies, $788.47. Staples, $181.49. Verizon Wireless, $61.43. Wellsback, $568.20 for a total of $3,556.19. 8 unpaid bills, Ace Hardware, $24.47. Big Yank Cleaning, $300. Constructure, $195.15. Landscaping for snowplow, $7,560. NICOM, $30. That was for a webinar. Suffolk County Board of Elections for last year's election, $118.75. Wex Bank, $230.81 for a total of $8,459.18. Page 4, unpaid bills. Axe Creative, $75. Optimum, $135.35. Joseph Prokop, $1,400. And Winter Brothers, $8,919.90 for a total of $10,530.25.
I don't know who it is that asked about the water, and that is something that has come up at other times when we've had Suffolk County water bills that were high. I'm very curious about it also.
Okay, I mean, I can look into it. That was like in September, we still had the dock going on, I don't know if it was California or if it was here.
I think it was all three. If you look at the billing, you had the 2 parks are probably the 2 high bills. There's a $1,000 bill and a $500 bill,
Village.
basically.
Yeah,
So Village
Okay.
Hall,
Yeah.
Village Park,
It's
and
a lot of water.
I'll
Yeah.
look into it.
but September, October,
Right, it goes down.
I think the sprinklers were on all the way through October.
And we have the hose down there too.
So who
Yeah.
knows? But that could be something to look into.
Mhm.
Maybe compare it to last year even.
Okay.
And then resolution number 02-2022-8, resolution approving all checks per the voucher report. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I let you have that one. You didn't jump quick enough though.
Hey, I'm so happy I got one in, or 2 in.
You got 2 and Chris got very competitive there, but I can still feel, I'm gonna start next time I'm gonna keep tally.
All right, we can hang out of the meeting.
Sure. Bye,
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Whoever's leading.
Yes.
Yeah.